There are many gear pieces to collect in Far Cry 6, and with each individual piece of your outfit having a different effect, there are a lot of ways you can buff up Danny. There are some amazing loadouts for stealth and combat, plus some nice tricks we will also cover that help you gather resources faster, and we will discuss all of that and more in this best gear video for Far Cry 6, so let's dive right into it and let's go. With the amount of gear pieces available in the game, there is of course no single best loadout, as what gear works best also depends on your playstyle and weapon of choice. So instead of focusing on the specifics, we will be showcasing some items that will be really useful for every player regardless of their playstyle, or items that give you a unique reward and strong buff that you can't really get anywhere else. So hopefully after watching this you know what items you should look out for at vendors or in the Libertad caches. Because that is of course the thing in Far Cry 6, most of the gear drops are randomized. We can't just tell you to go to a specific location to get a certain armor piece. You either need to get lucky from a Libertad cache in the open world or buy it from Juan's arms dealers or the gear vendor, which you unlock after building the Bandidos barracks at one of the 3 main bases. The further you upgrade the barracks, the more equipment you unlock, so keep in mind that if one of the gear pieces we mentioned here isn't showing up in your vendor's inventory, it might be because your barracks aren't fully upgraded yet. And one of the things you of course need to upgrade these structures in your home base are materials, and there are actually some gear pieces that can really help with that as well. The best one for that is the prisoner shirt, which has the guerrilla scavenger buff that allows you to collect more gasolina, metal and medicine. The same buff also appears on the chosen of the Aesir shirt you can get through Ubisoft Connect, which you can access if you also own Assassin's Creed Valhalla, so you can use that one if you want as well. Now the buff makes it so that every time you pick up one of the materials mentioned, you will get double the amount you normally would. So with this chest piece equipped, you can fast travel from Guerrilla Camp to Guerrilla Camp and open the supply caches there, which is another upgrade unlocked through the home base by the way, so you can get 20 of each material for each chest instead of the 10 you'd normally get. It might not be the most exciting buff in the game, but especially earlier it gives you a really nice boost to the amount of resources you can gather. Another set of gear that was really useful to us early on, you can also get very early in the game, is the Parkour Set, which we've mentioned a lot in our other videos as well. This set is perfect for if you need extra mobility, as it gives you buffs to either movement speed or stamina, so you can run faster and further without getting tired. Just don't forget to holster your weapon and slide from time to time to get the most out of it, as some of the perks require that for them to be active. The Parkour Set isn't the only set that boosts your mobility however, and especially stealth players are going to be interested in the Dark Tech boots, which improve your movement speed while crouched. And I know it doesn't sound super great, but trust me, the difference between having these and not having them is huge. You get a huge buff in movement speed, and you can even see it in the animation as well, as you are now swinging your gun from left to right as if you were sprinting, even though you cannot technically sprint while crouched. So with these on, you can just move through an F&D based while crouched at a pretty high speed, which means it will be much harder for enemies to detect you as you are crouched, and you can get into position for a kill much quicker. And if you still feel like you're moving too slow when crouched, you can always combine these Dark Tech boots with some of the items of the Parkour Set to even further upgrade your movement speed. The Dark Tech set has some pretty great items in general by the way, as the gloves on that set are one of my favorite items to use in the game. The Dark Tech gloves make it so that your throwing knives and axes lock onto a target, so it's much easier to hit someone with these gadgets that normally require a lot of precision. It's kind of hard to explain how the lock-on works exactly. It for sure doesn't turn your throwing knives into homing missiles, like you can still miss for sure, but I found that as long as you are aiming roughly around the head and don't stand too far away, you will land a headshot every time, which means an insta-kill on any enemy with these gadgets. Plus you can get them back from looting the corpse, so you never run out of ammo either, meaning you can just use throwing knives to make it out of pretty much any combat encounter. And to make it even better, try equipping the Techmaster Cap together with these Dark Tech gloves. The Techmaster Cap lets you tag nearby enemies when you get a gadget kill, and since throwing knives and axes count as gadgets, every kill you get with those will trigger this effect. And the range on it is actually pretty impressive. You can easily tag multiple enemies in a single base with just a single kill, but now that you know where the other enemies are as well, you might as well visit them to treat them to some other throwing knives and see if you can find even more. And of course, the nice thing with the Techmaster Cap is that it works with any other gadget as well, so if you'd rather use something a bit more explosive, you can still benefit from the tag effect when getting a kill. Before we get into some more gear combinations, if you've learned anything from this video so far, leaving a like would really help us out, and if you don't want to miss a single Far Cry 6 video, you can of course subscribe to the channel as well. But yeah, you might have already noticed that we're combining a lot of items, and that's because most of these best gear items we found have some other item that synergizes really well with their unique effect. Another good example of this is the Street Surgeon Vest, which gives you a second charge for your manual heal ability. This is of course great because more healing equals less chance of dying, plus the recharge timer doesn't reset if you use the second charge. So if I use my first charge, that one goes on cooldown, and you can see next to your health bar how close it is to recharging. If I then use the second charge right before the first recharge is done, the recharge timer will not drop back down to 0, but instead you will get a single charge back right after using the other one. And this is already pretty great, but if you then combine it with the revolutionary gloves, which are part of the revolutionary set you get from a main story mission near the end of the game, it becomes even better. These gloves reduce the cooldown for a manual heal from 30 to 20 seconds, which is already a nice buff in and of itself, but combined with the Street Surgeon vest, it means that you pretty much always have a manual healing charge off cooldown. Now, having a lot of healing is great, but wouldn't it be even better if you didn't need to heal? Well, we don't have an item that makes you invincible just yet, but we have a combination of items that can get you pretty close to it. You do need the pants from the revolutionary set for this one, so once again this option will only be available to you near the end of the main story. These pants will allow you to start regenerating health quicker after being hit. Normally you have to make sure you don't get hit for 10 seconds before your health starts regenerating after taking damage, but having these pants on cuts that timer down to 5 seconds. Then we also equip the gloves from the Street Surgeon set, which has the exact same buff on them, and now your health will begin regenerating pretty much as soon as you get hit. With these items equipped, your health is pretty much always regenerating, so unless you take a lot of damage in quick succession, you will be able to survive pretty much anything the enemies throw at you. And if you have access to the Vast DLC, the perk on the chest piece you can unlock by playing that will also buff the rate at which your health refills. So not only is there no cooldown on health regen, you also regenerate more health in less time. Now, even though these synergies are pretty insane, there are still some items that are just great on their own as well. If you like using rifles and snipers, or if you're just very accurate, I definitely recommend using the Marksman's goggles. These refund a single round on a headshot kill. This round is then added to your current magazine, not your ammo reserve, so as long as you keep hitting headshots, you will not need to reload. It's easy to see then why you would use this headgear with a sniper or a rifle, as those weapon types are both very accurate even over longer ranges, but most of them have relatively small magazines, which means that they benefit a lot from having some extra shots before a reload. If you're good with a sniper, you can pretty much give yourself a bottomless mag with the Marksman's goggles equipped. Another great gear item is the Caveira Beret. Now, this is technically a store item as it's part of the Rainbow Six Siege bundle, but it was available at Lola a while back, and at the point of recording it's the only item with the tactical awareness perk, which allows you to tag enemies through walls. Now, I probably don't need to tell you why that is great, but just in case, this makes running through an F&D base stealthily so much easier. Just find a vantage point, check the whole map with your phone camera, and you can be absolutely sure that every enemy in the camp is tagged because they cannot hide behind walls. You can even use it from behind cover if you want, but in general, if you use your camera a lot for spotting enemies, the Caveira Beret is a game changer. And if sneaking around and scanning camps with your phone isn't your thing, there are other gear pieces that can still help you tag enemies easily so you don't lose track of them. We already mentioned the Techmaster Cap, but there's also the Decontaminant Mask, which you can get after completing the Macao Spec Ops map for the first time. This will allow you to tag nearby enemies after a takedown kill, so you still need to sneak up on at least one enemy, but like with the Techmaster Cap, the range on this effect is pretty crazy, and knowing where your enemies are is always an advantage, no matter if you're going in stealthily or loud. And finally, we have an item that is perfect for if you just want to stay up close and personal. The Prisoner Scarf allows you to trigger takedowns from the front and on alerted enemies, meaning you can just run up to someone and stick them with your machete. Takedowns are insta-kills on any enemy, so while you are putting yourself in danger by running up to an enemy, you are definitely taking down your target when you get in range. I like running this with the Parkour Set for some extra move speed, the Gladiator Supremo, and a good shotgun for even more close range effectiveness. And then for the cherry on top, if you were able to get the Breach and Clear gloves at Lola, or if you get them while they return to the store, you can use those to get the Takedown Reload perk, which unsurprisingly refills your weapon magazine after a takedown. That same perk is also available on the gloves from the Altair set, which you can find in the store, by the way. Use either of those in combination with the Prisoner Scarf to blast enemies with a shotgun or another weapon with a long reload animation, and when you get low on ammo, skip the reload entirely by killing an enemy with a frontal takedown instead, after which your mag is full again and you could just keep shooting. And that's it for our roundup of the best gear items in Far Cry 6. I hope this video was helpful. If you enjoyed it, it would be awesome if you could leave a like, and we will of course keep you up to date on everything Far Cry 6 here, so subscribe to miss nothing. And if you want, you can watch another one of our videos where we tell you all about the Supremo backpacks in the game and which one is the best to use. For now, thanks everyone so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye!